Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here with Midwest Market Management. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, about 10:30 a.m. here. We're going to dive in to U.S. weather from a national yield perspective. As always, we try to keep our weather in focus based on are the events we're looking at today and in the forecast or past events going to be of a national yield changing perspective. I've got Riley Sykart on here with me. We use the Marcus Weather Group maps to as our main tool here to give us an outlay of what we're looking at. How are you today, Riley?
Doing pretty good. Had some changes. I mean, planning progress came out yesterday, so that's first thing I kind of want to look at here. But some interesting changes today.
Yeah, Riley, you're right there in central Iowa. Now, you want to give us a little rundown on what happened over the weekend there, just from your own perspective, what you see in your back door.
Yep, pretty simple in our area. Friday there was maybe a couple tenths of rain, enough that kept people out of the field for that day. But by Saturday, temperatures were ideal. I think about everywhere you look, there was a planter rolling on Saturday, and that led into Easter Sunday. Locally, we had about 2.5 inches, but I think a lot of people on Sunday received anywhere from an inch plus on the eastern, pretty much half of Iowa as we look at the maps. But I think around here, a lot of guys, maybe by the end of the week, if we miss some rains, could look at getting back in the field. But as of right now, it's pretty much sit and watch and wait for the rain to dissipate.
Yeah, we got the caution flag out. We're running laps right now. All right, let's dive into some maps here.
Sounds good. First here, we got planting progress on the national side. Came in at 12% for corn, 10%'s the average. And that's pretty evident of last week. A lot of guys got in the field. A lot of corn, a lot of beans got stuck in the ground, I would say, between last Sunday and this Saturday that just came and went. So not shocked to see us ahead of average right now. Flicking over to the bean side, same thing. You've talked about this multiple times, Clint. More and more people starting to put beans in the ground first. So that's a trend I'm not shocked by, and I think that's going to continue over the next few years, that beans may actually get to the point beans get brought up even faster than corn. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that trend continues, and as I talk to more and more producers, there's still a lot of them out there that prefer to put the corn in first, and so some of them, may not change, and not to say that's right or wrong. So it will be an interesting trend to watch.
Absolutely. So that's it on the planning progress side of things. Moving into temperatures over the next 5 days, pretty mild here. A lot of stuff in the 60s. If you look in the Dakotas, stuff in the 50s. But I've heard from a couple guys up in South Dakota, ground temps are getting to 49, 50 degrees. Guys are going to start turning wheels up there now too. So they didn't catch as much rain as areas here more in the central Midwest did this weekend. So wouldn't be shocked to see some pretty big planning progress updated from the Dakotas when we go into next week's report. So temperatures looking a little bit better over the 1 to 5 day, 6 to 10 showing the same thing, getting to more average to above average temps for this time of year. When you look at Iowa, southern Wisconsin getting into the 70s, that's kind of more of a first week, second week of May average. So kind of good to see temperatures getting a little bit warmer. That can encourage A, the rains that we've gotten, stuff can dry out, guys can get back in the field quicker, and B, soil temperatures for anybody who's more of a sit and watch style, they can't have any reason not get in the ground anymore either. So temperature wise, stuff's looking pretty ideal, Clint.
Yeah, well put.
All right, moving in the last 13 days. This is something that we want to stress, that we're looking at this from a national perspective. As you can see, there are some areas that got big chunks of rain. I mentioned around here we had 2+ inches. Still something on the national level, you can see whether you're in the eastern corn belt or to the west, not nearly as much. And there are opportunities for people outside of the state of Iowa to be sticking crop in the ground this week. So
yeah, and like I said, like Riley said, we like to, we prefer these zoomed out maps as they tend to keep us from getting too absorbed in the problematic areas. I'm excited for Riley. He's going to show us our next map. And over the course of the year, when we feel necessary, we might start introducing some more state maps. Because this map tells a little bit different story. It's roughly the same time period as the national map. So here you can see that we do have some areas up around Mason City. They got 4 inches in the outskirts of that, in the 2 to 3 inch category. If you back up a map a little bit, Riley, just back up to the previous map, notice you don't see that as well in here. It's not that we're ignoring those, it's that we're with intentionality trying to zoom out a little bit more here. So when we do see maps that are, feel like they need your attention or our attention, we'll certainly look to bring them in.
absolutely. So on that
one more thing here on this map is, trying to not get the look out your back door syndrome there. Riley's sitting there going, well, right here locally, you can drive around, won't find a planter in the field. Well, the western half of Iowa's probably got a lot of activity going out there today.
Yeah, there's probably a pretty good chance of that. So just another put it into perspective thing to help guys keep the mindset where it needs to be. So
yep.
Moving into surface soil moisture. On the surface, this is going to get updated probably a little bit more from all these rains, but pretty clear to see we have the ability to absorb a lot of water right now due to dryness. So that's going to help with things too. Definitely in the Dakotas and here in Iowa, seeing yellow to orange, it means that any rain we get will very quickly get sucked into the ground and allow guys to get back in the field. So not any super big reasons for this rain to stir up the markets, I'd say. So drought monitor maps just showing the same thing there. Moving in 1 to 5 day precip, this is where it gets a little interesting. This week, there's a lot of hit and miss rains that are, I'm showing in the forecast. There's, 10th here, 1/4 of an inch there. Could it be enough to keep guys out of the field if it's every day getting a little bit of something? Yes. But there's also a chance if you miss that rain, you could get a lot of stuff done during that same window.
Yeah. It's going to be a very spotty week ahead of us, it looks to me like.
Yep, I agree. And then the 6 to 10 day shows something kind of similar, a little wetter in the eastern corn belt, but once again, not anything super widespread, some spotty stuff that it's going to have. I think it could be a pretty mixed bag. I think there could be guys that are 100% planted and guys that are 3 counties over that are only 20%. So something interesting to keep your mind on. Finally, looking at the 1 to 13 day where you piece it all together, it looks like a good chunk of every area of the corn growing area is going to get some kind of rain. The big question is, are they going to get it at once? Are they going to get it sporadically? What area is going to be getting what? So in terms of a market story, I can't really say there's going to be one right now. Clint, would you agree with that?
No, I mean there's a part of me that's getting a little edgy when I see this much color and we're looking to roll into, this forecast is putting us into the 4th of May. But overall, I feel like we're ahead of schedule. We've got more horsepower in this country to plant than we ever have. So I think we're in good shape yet. I think that the market, would become sensitive if these rains become more than advertised and or spread out a little bit more to where we start creeping into May and can't get anything done. But right now, I'm not overly alarmed by this. And I feel like that, in 3 weeks from now, we might be feeling very, very good about the crops in the field. I feel like we're getting off to potentially getting off to a really good start here. Subsoils are not saturated, so we should absorb this. The calendar tells us the days are going to warm. We tend to get a lot of wind this time of year, so things should, dry out relatively quickly. Everything is favoring being able to absorb these rains, dry out in a relatively quickly manner, and get back at it. And you know, the other thing to mention is that as the calendar progresses, the American farmer's sense of urgency picks up. And when that sense of urgency picks up, we know what they can get done in a very short period of time.
Absolutely. I mean, whenever there's been a question of can the U.S. farmer produce, they always overproduce. So,
yeah.
Same thing with the planting side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, so absolutely. So it's going to be a fun growing season. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really enjoying the way that we're looking at this, doing this biweekly. Keeps us from getting too overly entrenched in the in the day-to-day forecast to forecast. I also am liking the Marcus weather maps and the way that Riley and I are approaching this from a national yield perspective. Helps me make good decisions for my producers, and I'm hoping that it does for you as well. You can find these on YouTube. If you visit MidwestMarketManagement.com, you can get signed up to receive them via text message and also email. Got a lot of other commentaries on the Grain Market Insights tab there as well on the website if you would like to hear a little bit more about Midwest Market Management and some of our research out there. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Riley, thanks for putting the maps together, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.